Ardil. I'm joined as ever by Trent Park. This is the Outside Edge podcast. I'm getting creative with it at the moment, Trent. Quite a lot of cricket's happened. Trent hasn't watched any of it. I've already set him off. Are you all right there, pal?
No, I'm not. That was just really weird. It was deeply sincere. I don't like it.
Yeah, well, hey, I'm versatile. A lot of cricket's happened. Trent hasn't watched any of it. But that's fine. You've tried to have a life this week. That's fair enough.
Yeah, I tried to have a life. One of my best mates from back home and I was just come over, so I've been drinking too much, not watching any cricket, and just trying to be a normal human being for once. Which has been
do you feel
good for a change?
Do you feel happier? Do you feel good?
Yeah, I've started to smile more. Skin's better, hair's better, salads rigs in shape somehow.
Really?
I'm still a horrible bloke.
Let's bring that crashing back down and talk about cricket. WPL final, resounding success on Sunday. Good final actually, down to the wire. Started off pretty chaotically with Izzy Wong getting wickets with some of the worst balls I've ever seen. Just at Shafley Verma's and Alice Capsey's head. Both reaping catches, and she finishes with a 3-for. She got carted at the end as the Delhi Capitals put on a sort of challenging score. Meg Lanning made a few runs. Shikha Pandey contributed with some big bombs at the end. And Hayley Matthews is a gun. Four overs, 2 maidens, 3 for 5 in a WPL final. Phenomenal. And then the chase was just vintage. It was so good. Nat Siva-Brunt, 60 red, 55 rocks. Harmanpreet Kaur, we don't need to sing her praises anymore. 37-39 to get home and won the maiden inaugural WPL. Good final. Enjoyed watching it. Much the same. Let's hope for more teams next year.
Yes.
As more franchise stuff rolls on. Speaking of franchise stuff, 100 draft. We went down the boozer and had a little gander through the teams. Any picks you want to highlight?
Yes. Friend of the show, very good friend of the show, Baz the Lee got picked up by the Northern Superchargers, which is really good. 40,000 quid.
Decent for a month's work, hey?
For a month's work, yeah, I wouldn't mind. That's my 3 years' work. That's my payback for about 30 years' work on this podcast, I reckon. And also another good one, Josh Little for Manchester Originals, another Associate Nation player. And then one that I've been following a bit closely is Stevie Eskenazi, who's been picked up, well-deserved over the last couple of years of really good white ball cricket, a good BBL. Finally got the respect on his name. He's playing for the Welsh Fire, so excited to see him in the 100. Yeah,
Welsh Fire have done pretty well for themselves. They've managed to bag Shaheen Afridi and Harris Ralph. Not going to be a fun afternoon in Cardiff, I reckon. Good names. Really excited for it. I've just really come around to the 100. I think it's class.
Yeah, me too.
Love it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then good for the ladies as well. Some decent names, decent cash. The top band, 31.25k.
Yep.
Great stuff.
Good squid.
Good squid. Happy to see it. Danae van Niekerk, she retired from South Africa, I'm pretty sure, but she's Oval Invincible. She's getting a fair bit of buck. I think London Spirit are lining up pretty nicely as well. Grace Harris, Heather Knight, Sarah Glenn.
Names I like to see.
Charlie Dean, good bunch of pals. So 100, that starts in August. Looking forward to that. And there's also been some pretty big hitting in South Africa. I want to highlight the second T20. I was writing for Wisdom on it. Absolutely obscene. 257 was the target set for, or was the first inning score by West Indies, featuring a stupidly fast ton from Johnson Charles. 39 ball century, fastest in T20I history for West Indies. Yeah, previously held by Chris Gale. The record was at 47, so he smashed it by 39 balls. And then to make things even spicier, even easier, South Africa go and chase it down pretty comfortably. That scenario, you think, was the par score more ridiculous? 507. I've got a few numbers because I've already written a piece about it. Go check it out if you want to. 517 runs scored. That's the highest ever score amount of runs scored in a T20 game. 259 highest chase. Aidan Markram and Heinrich Klaassen saw them over the line. 13 runs superior to Bulgaria's chase against Serbia last year. Something to note. 35 collective sixes hit in the game. Absolutely ridiculous. Quentin de Kock, that's his first T20 international ton.
Really?
Yeah, never hit one before.
Cocky.
He's hit brilliant. He's hit a few, hit a few, and obviously in the T20s. But yeah,
Yes.
his first half century came off 15 balls.
You watched that one. Was it a better chase than when South Africa beat Australia, chasing 423, I think, back in 2006?
It's obviously a different kettle of fish. I just think there was so many runs in this pitch. It was ridiculous. And yeah, just everyone got carted. There's a really funny moment as well at the start of the South African chase where Rovman Powell nearly wiped out two ball boys, like chasing the ball. And then, I mean, they've got to do something about this. This kid who looks about 3 years old, yeah, cheers, mate. Cruising around the boundary, and Powell's like, I'm going to clatter into this kid. So he like leaps over him, and, like smash into the LED advertising boards. Absolute chaos. But yeah, that series has just come to an end. There was the third T20 took place last night, and that finished off a pretty. Oh, what was it? Okay, that finished off. West Indies winning by 7 runs, went right down to the wire. Another big one, 220 was the target set, but South Africa couldn't quite get there despite Reza Hendricks batting with his member. And then Johnson Charles, man of the series, even though he golden ducked in the T20. So yeah, enjoyed it. I haven't really watched much of this sort of pointless tour that Oscar was talking about last week, but
he follows too much cricket, mate.
Yeah, love the guy, but go outside. No, all jokes aside.
Yes. See, Paddy, since I haven't been following cricket this week, there's one thing that's actually sparked up an interest in mine, is that you're telling me a story off air about a friend of yours who's sexually attracted to professional cricketers and has just matched with one on Hinge. Can you please run us through that?
Yeah, everyone will remain nameless, but I'm sorry, this had to be discussed. What is it? Why do you think people are attracted to cricketers?
It's probably the least attractive profession there is, or sport there is.
You said you spoke to Grace about it, and she said that
my partner of 7 years.
Yes, correct. That she found catches and hitting
good, big diving catches,
good grabs, and hitting a big bomb. That's
it.
Semi attractive. Maybe whites, is that like good?
No,
I think that's a bit weird.
I think is that one of yours? Is it?
No
your comment. Sexual fantasy.
No comment. Plead the fifth. No, I don't know. It's really peculiar. She matched with a pretty poor former England opener, and I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. I shouldn't say anymore.
You said too much. Yeah, but I reckon. Do you reckon like batting shapes or bowling shapes come into the attraction at all? Like if you obviously know who they are if you're attracted to professional cricket.
I think it's timing. It's all in the coordination, and I have none of it. So, ladies, don't come and watch. It's pretty torrid viewing. I think that's catches. Catches is quite attractive, isn't it? Like snaffling something, coordination, styling something out is always pretty. To be honest, I don't know anything about women, so I think we'll call it a day there. We've probably jump cut in horribly here because I forgot that this weekly segment that we do, and I really wanted to stop talking to Trent because we spent a lot of time staring at each other's faces today. Village moment of the week. Now it's been doing the rounds on socials. We picked it up because it's just too good to ignore. And of course, it involves all of our favorite things. The non-striker run-out is what it should be called. Everyone's lambasting people on Twitter for calling it a Mankad, even though it's perfect for the name's perfect. Got nothing against Vinu Mankad and his family. Actually, I think he started quite a beautiful piece of cricketing.
Yes.
You know, it's brilliant. We love it. Not all of our immediate cricketing colleagues feel the same. And that actually adds fuel to the fire. I think I love it even more because of that.
Yes.
Let's talk about it, Treno. Do you want to just sort of tell us what's going on here?
Yeah, we'll break it down bit by bit because there's a lot of levels to it. So before we get away, I want to say that there's the grandchild of Vinu Mankad. He actually he's come out and said he's actually proud of it. That is part of his heritage and history.
Love it.
And like it's part of his personality now. Anyway, so we'll get into it. First of all, filthy Mankad, contentious one too, because he may or might not be in. The umpire clearly wasn't watching. Pulled over square leg like he had a clue what's going on. They both didn't care. They both didn't know. They just want to get paid $60 and have a few schooners after the game. Giving it out. And then hasn't there been an absolute uproar, mate? Biggest blow up you ever seen.
Yeah. We've seen our fair share of blow-ups on this pod, and this is one of the best. How about that? We should also say SCA Grand Final, Claremont and Norfolk. It's on a pretty dusty mat. And after being given out, the launch of the bat, how about it, Treno?
Yeah, so I've got to say, like, the angle that he threw it and the sheer meterage that he covered with that throw is so impressive. I think you cannot get the bat that far unless it was a Mankad.
Do you reckon that fueled
I think yes. Yeah, it's like when you hear about people who are trying to save someone else's life and they lift a car off a child. Like you get that just fucking energy that you
just what superhuman strength.
Superhuman strength for a Mankad. That's what I think you get.
Life flashing before your eyes,
straight from your balls, straight up to the chest, like that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I mean, if we were javelin fans, we might be able to eyeball this and see the distance. I reckon he's thrown that 10, 15, 20 meters.
Yeah, at least 20.
Got a lot of float on it. The gloves come off. They're volleyed. They're booted.
Yes, that was. I also want to get into that. That's a good height too. Like he hasn't kicked that straight in the air. He's got a good arc on that, a good parabola. That is good. He's covered another 10, 15 meters on a glove kick. Like seriously, this bloke has got a lot of energy in his balls and he's kicking things a long way.
How about the Mankad itself though? So we like to think ourselves as sort of aficionados, like people who enjoy.
A Mankad expert, you could say.
Yeah, sorry, I just started playing loads of Music Sounds Better With You by Stardust. Just started playing in my headphones. Very peculiar. Had to sort that one out. Apologies. Yeah, it's a difficult one. We are aficionados. We like a Mankad. I think he's perfectly within his rights to do it as I'm watching it back. Because he doesn't take his delivery stride.
Yes. The
difficult thing is the batsman's it's not that bad. This is what's difficult. There's so many, such a fine margin, the beerest of all margins, that he might be in. I mean, I think he's out. If you look at the shadow on his bat, it is gone. And either or, the umpire doesn't have a clue because he's not looking at it. It begs the question, Trent, what's going to happen in a couple months' time as we launch into the UK season?
Summer of Mankads. I'm going to ask you, would you warn? Are you a warner? You're like, okay, I'm going to warn you. You cannot go over crease again. Yeah. Otherwise, I will blatantly mankad you. Or would you go, look, it's been on TV. There's been enough conversations about it. It's the rules. It's in the rule book.
I think I would be a Davey Warner in this situation. I would warn. Okay. I would. But that's because of societal pressure. Yes, which I buckle to, and adhere to.
This is just like ideology. This is like a cricket dream. This is everything that you're doing in a cricket dream. What would you do? Just subconsciously.
In a cricket dream,
subconsciously, what would you do?
It's the rules, but cricket is also a gentleman's game. You know, honor. There's this mutual respect. No other sport has that in its laws, not rules. Laws. The spirit of cricket. It's got so wet, isn't it? No, we do like cricket. We do. It's so difficult. And I feel
Yes.
for the umpires, especially when you get down to like third 11, fourth 11 level,
Yeah.
when your number 10's in and the bowl, and you have to adjudicate whether your mate who's at the non-shot, or maybe you don't like him, because there are those gears in club cricket.
Yes. There's so much of that.
I would be inclined to trigger finger. That's because I'm a weirdo. But yeah, I don't know. This one's pretty tough. I don't know, and the umpire doesn't have a clue anyway.
But it's also so easy to stay in your crease.
So easy, simple chalk.
It's simple chalk. Stay in your crease.
Simple chalk. Stay in your crease.
Can we talk about the people storming on the ground?
Yeah, I mean,
what was going to happen? What were we going to do? Like, seriously?
Yeah, like, are you gonna? I can guarantee you, I'd bet my house that I don't have on a civilized, gentlemanly conversation not happening.
Yes.
There's no chance that a compromise or like an understanding agreement was reached at the end of that chat.
I've been in those situations during grade cricket. I've been caught in the car park myself when I was 17 versus a 35-year-old. I've been caught in the car park.
Yeah.
And there's been several other times that people have been caught in the car parks. It's pretty disgusting to be honest. And I know why that would. I know that would have happened for sure.
Do you know where this is? Claremont and New Norfolk?
Tasmania. So inbreds and people with two heads. That's what Tasmania is, mate.
That explains a lot, mate. I think that was a pretty good village moment of the week. I think we've dissected the shit out of that.
Yeah.
I think it's now time to really awkwardly and poorly edited jump back into the pod, if that's all right with you.
Love it, mate. I would love to do that.
So, without further ado, we move into a very special interview with Chevy Green from the ACE program. If you don't know anything about ACE, they are a charity supporting diverse talent, promoting Black, African American, Caribbean cricketers, because there's not a lot of it. And we spoke to Chevy about the program, everything around it, really, to get it's Ebony Rainford Brent's charity set up, I think a couple years ago. The quote is, "You can't be what you can't see." So we're trying to get more diverse role models, diversity in cricket. I mean, there's some pretty damning numbers. 2 of the head coaches in the county setup are non-white. Like, in 1994, there were 33 Black British cricketers competing in county cricket. Last year, there were just 9. So we spoke to Chevy from the ACE, fresh off the back of his meeting with his net with Rishi Sunak. He said his shapes were pretty bang average. Shock. Went to 10 Downing Street with the ACE guys, and they're doing amazing work. So we spoke to Chevy about all things ACE program charity. Good chat, wasn't it, Treno?
Great chat. Yeah, we just wanted to shed a little bit of light on growing the game in more communities. That's what we want to do. There's just one story that I want to get into before we get into the interview with Chevy. I came across it this week. So I'm coach, that listeners for the show would know. And one of the blokes I coach with is a Afghani refugee, and he's really good cricketer. He's young. He's 16, 17, and he wants to become professional. And he was talking to me this week about trying to play for a Div 1 or a Premier League club in Surrey. And I was giving a few names, like, this club's good, this club's bad. Try go here, they don't have any spinners, or they need some batting, blah, blah, blah. And then I talked to the head coach, who's pretty well known and has good contacts throughout Surrey and Middlesex. And he's like, mate, don't go to Surrey. Because if you're an Asian cricketer, there's not enough multiculturalism inside the clubs for you to be known, put into the first team, because it's a bit of a boys' club at the moment in Surrey. And he said, if you go to Middlesex, there's already enough Asian cricketers in the first team, captains, coaches, etc., that there's a higher likelihood that you'll get picked in the first team, and then you better go through the ranks. And I thought that is just so sad that you would have to actually alter who you want to play for, what area you want to play in, to try and progress through the system to play professional cricket.
It shouldn't be that way
it shouldn't
at all. And there is a problem, and there's a lot of great work that a lot of charities are doing to sort of bridge that gap, I guess, level the socioeconomic playing field. Because at the moment, I mean, we're in a really fortunate position where we play for a great club, as we were saying. where there isn't that, but we were also lucky enough to be able to play cricket because it's not cheap. Chevy says at one
No.
point in the interview, you know, how many outgoings there are, and that's before you get in the bar. So
Yeah.
you know, it was great to chat to him about all the great work that Ace are doing. So stick around, listen to it, get involved, because this stuff needs shedding light on if you want to get around cricket in sort of all capacities. So without further ado, shall we stop dribbling?
Yes.
Absolutely. See you in a bit.
Chevy Green, Director of Programs for Ace. Happy to be here with Patrick and Trent on Outside Edge.
Chevy, mate, welcome to the Crucible. Firstly, we want to talk about Ace program. How did it start? What's the goals? Where do you want to get it to?
Yeah, it started a few years ago now, literally 3 years ago. Started as a Surrey program. We selected 24 individuals. Then went into that national lockdown a week later. So yeah, it's been a bit crazy since then. We've moved on from just being a Surrey program to become an independent charity, and now work with a number of other counties. Warwickshire, so we've got a program in Birmingham. Gloucestershire, so we've got a program in Bristol. Lancashire, a program in Manchester. Yorkshire, so we've got a program in Sheffield. And Nottinghamshire, so we've got a program in Nottingham. So yeah, it's just exciting. We've been able to expand pretty quick. Received some great support from ECB, Sport England, and Royal London as kind of partners, and then donations as well. So this helped us develop. We've got schools programs, community programs, and academies in all those areas. And ultimately, it was all Ebony Rain for Brent's dream, that I have to kind of create on a day-to-day basis. Ace kind of was set up to address the 75% decline over the last kind of 27 years in the professional game for like black cricketers in this country. So yeah, it's the numbers are a bit dire. The percentages are low. Professionally, you're looking at kind of 1% now. Recreationally just below that. So for us, it's just giving us opportunity to try and connect with communities that might not have had played as much cricket over the last few years for various different reasons. And the areas that we go into, our focus is African Caribbean heritage, but the areas that we go in, particularly with the cost of living crisis and, high deprivation, low social areas, whether you're white, black or brown, we're kind of connecting, engaging and introducing cricket to the young people there.
What's the goal? Is it to get as many kids into cricket as you can, or is it to create like professional cricketers from there? What would you say Ace's main sort of, is it just to get as many people playing cricket of all sort of shapes and sizes?
Yeah, depending on who you're asking the team, you might get a different answer. But, we're kind of still on that journey. Ace was set up as a talent ID program. So ultimately it was to address that game element. And then, but we realized because recreationally the numbers were so bad, you can't just tackle the professional side of trying to get players into counties and pathways. We had to try and build like systems and pathways. That's why we went into schools and we went into community hubs. And luckily for us, like if I look at the schools element, like nationally since we've been delivering, which is just coming up to 2 years, 78% of the schools we've gone into never had cricket before. So for us, that just shows, like I said earlier, like whether you're white, black or brown, living in those areas, depending on no matter what your heritage is, even for whatever reason, your school never had cricket. So a lot of young people for all those years have been missing out. So we've been able to try and address that and engage that. But yeah, definitely in a few years to come, I'd love to, watch many of our scholars that were, now making professional debuts, getting their county caps, getting an international cap one day, that'd be special. And just as important, is how we've helped, create cricket to be an interest and love for a new set of people that never once considered it to be a game. So I think we've got a job on both hands, professionally and recreationally, to try and support. But yeah, I guess the big news story would definitely be, the first kind of numbers of Ace players going through to get pro contracts. Like we're seeing some good numbers coming through at younger ages, getting into county pathways. So hopefully, now we've given them to some of the counties can take them on and take them to the next level.
Yeah. I was actually talking to Paddy yesterday about like the accessibility issues there is, because I just moved down to southeast London.
Okay.
And I think there's only 3 clubs in the Southwark region itself.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I was wondering, like, how can you grow a game in these areas when there's only 3 cricket clubs in in the whole region?
And the club where we play,
Yeah.
there's like 5 in like a kilometre. So
Yes.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like if you look at like I said, in the London, you said you moved to Southeast London. I'd say imagining where you're describing the clubs. I'd say you moved to like Peckham, Dulwich, that kind of way. So around there you've got Stratford Marlborough, you've got Dulwich, you've got Alaines, and then you've got a few other, like maybe one other club like Burgess Park, which is a little bit further. But like those 3 clubs, Stratford Marlborough, Dulwich, Lanes are all in one area. Like they're literally all next to each other. So it is tricky. Transport and pitches. There's not in the cities. There's a lot more density. There's less green space, so it's harder to develop. Like Lambeth, where the Oval is based, there's no junior cricket club. So
no.
The foundation do and we work with the foundation on this. We do some great stuff on the community based level, like doing All Stars and Dynamos. A lot of those introductory programs, and we have like regular community up sessions. But there's no like junior cricket club in the borough. So like for all those young people, they're kind of going into, they might have to go to like the Dulwiches, or they might go to Wandsworth and like Spencer, and Spencer's oversubscribed, might have to go to Wimbledon, who's also quite high on numbers. You got other clubs there like St. John Grammarians and stuff. So there it is tricky. It is tricky being in the inner city, and for us it's just trying to see, okay, how else can we help and influence counties to think of different ways to try and support talented players to get to the next steps and next levels.
Trent and I had this conversation yesterday. I wanted to talk about, or ask you about, like African Caribbean role models in cricket. Like, there's been obviously a steep decline in the amount of African Caribbean players over the last sort of 25, 30 years. And, there's very few coaches of sort of non-white coaches. Is there a lack of like seeing that pathway, especially given how like big a proportion of cricket professionals now went to like public schools? Are we lacking like these minority role models to an extent?
Yeah, we often say it that like in like Ace, you can't be what you can't see. So it's easy to like aspire to role models when you can see them on TV, and like football. If you looked at football, England played the other day, Sunday was it? I think like there was 5 or 6 black players that were starting. So just watching it from that kind of point of view, these young kids will see that and think, oh, maybe I can do that. You look at the Premier League and all those different things. So cricket is a lot trickier in terms of that space. A lot of the generation that did make it and played for a long time, they're since retired. Some went into coaching, some didn't. The ones that have gone into coaching might necessarily had some of the same opportunities to be at first team around different county pathway levels. So role models is crucial. We're quite lucky to have some amazing role models attached to our program, who are playing first class cricket at the moment. You look at the likes of Jofra Archer, CJ, Chris Jordan. Those are 2 of the biggest names. And then we've got others that are up and coming and at different levels on the spectrum of their careers. So we've kind of got some fantastic role models that we can look to and aspire to. And Sophia Dunkley is another big one for the young women and girls in our program, which is huge. And it's crucial. It's crucial. And we try to be, social media is, other than Ebony, social media is a learning curve for a lot of us at Ace, but we see the power in it, and we see the power in trying to create role models ourselves within our program, whether it is our own coaches, whether it is our young scholars, like posting them, showcasing them, because a lot of young people, they're always on Instagram, they engage through that. So it's like, if we can engage some of our youngsters and post them and get them to do content and different stuff, then not only their friends but other people of their similar age will see it and hopefully relate to it and think like Ace is a place for them.
If we can like touch on the socio-economic challenge that we just talked about there, I read the article you've done with the cricketer, and there's one like statistic that I pulled out that I thought was really important to talk about, is that people with higher relative access to wealth are 22.3 times more likely to make it as professional cricketers rather than those to like lower access to wealth. then you said in reply that cricket has a class issue just as much as a race issue, and you're targeting, like you said, lower socioeconomic communities. Firstly, like, what is the biggest socioeconomic challenge that you've seen so far? Is a clear class divide in cricket?
Yeah, no, the class divide is huge, and it's been there for a long time within cricket, and like where I touched on, so like how we targeted the areas that we went into, we used the old census data and we targeted the top 10 black populated boroughs in London, and we targeted the top 10 areas outside of London. But then when we looked at that detail, what correlated in all those areas was on, like they got this like deprivation heat map type things. I'm not going to bore you with all of that, but it it just showcases in like higher reds of the deprivation. It's got different colors, but the higher red. So what correlated for us is the areas that we picked had those higher red areas all over it, and what it showed again was the detail that goes into really understanding those areas you're going into, and for us being a targeted program is crucial. So I use a borough like Croydon a lot as an example because I know that borough very well because I grew up there, went to school there, moved away, and I've moved back. So I can quite confidently talk about that borough. So that borough sits, 5th on the highest black populated list in London. And then when you looked at it, it's a cricket, there's some organisations like Chancellor Shine, Lord Taverners, Surrey County Cricket Club, the Foundation, they've all done great work in all the different parts, and they've done work in Croydon. But when you looked at the detail of where the work was done, most of it was South Croydon. So South Croydon, loads of green spaces, loads of cricket clubs, loads of private schools, including like Whitgift, which is probably one of the most premier schools in the country for sport. And, we have a good relationship with them in terms of how they help. And I'll get onto that about what you said there about how it can help. So there's loads of cricket outside. You looked at north of the borough, and again, south of the borough, the largest demographic I'd say was predominantly white, middle class and above, as a generalization. And you looked at north of the borough where you had less green space, less number of cricket clubs, the demographics, you had high African Caribbean, South Asian, Eastern European, white working class, and there was hardly any cricket in that side of the borough. So it's not that those young people never wanted to play cricket, didn't like cricket, they just never had the opportunity. And those things just come down to where you live, where you might go to school, your family's jobs, and all those different those accessibility stuff where you might know where to get to train at certain times because mum's got a work, dad's got to work, or a lot of the times a generalization is single parent household. So, sometimes that one parent has got to do two jobs and, they've got to look after siblings. So yeah, those are all different parameters that come into it. So when you break it down, like I said, those areas that we go into pretty much where we do our community hubs and all those kind of things, we have like pretty much a 50% split of, 50% of our children African Caribbean heritage, and then the other 50 are made up of, South Asian, white working class, Eastern European, just fitting of the society demographics of where that is. So it's about you can say people do stuff work in certain boroughs, but like where within those boroughs, because people are missing out. And a lot of that is that class divide of where those people are missing out. So it doesn't necessarily matter if you're white, black, or brown. Your access to cricket just because of where you're socially living, which isn't your fault, or where you go to school, means cricket hasn't been accessible to you. And you look at other stuff. Cricket's an expensive sport. You can get a bat for like £500, £600. For some people, that's rent and the rest. Do you know what I mean? And it's like weighing up those kind of costs. Then you got pads, and you got helmets, gloves, all these different things that add up into make cricket an expensive sport. Then you might have, a family. So that's two siblings that you got to double those costs. The clothing, then you got to play, if you're at a club, the yearly membership, and you got to pay match day subs. So all these different things add up into the costs.
All of that not to score any runs.
Yeah, exactly. It's a long, it's a long Saturday when you don't get any runs. You got to wait a whole week again. But hopefully nothing for you guys this season. But yeah, it just makes it's all part of the challenge, where trainings are held, where grounds are, sometimes some of the grounds aren't necessarily accessible for transport, not all the families drive. So, what's the train access like? What's the bus access like? How long is it going to take? And all these things people weigh up.
How is Ace endeavoring to reduce that cost, and how far can it go? How much can the playing field be leveled?
Yeah, we're lucky and fortunate that we have different partners. Bat for Chance is one of our partners, another charity that helps give used equipment, and sometimes it's brand new equipment that people haven't used or donated and given. So we can help give our young people bats and pads and gloves, etc., equipment if they need it. Through some of our funding, we can help reduce the cost through travel, like covering expenses. So yeah, luckily through the support through partners and to give credit, some of our young people in our program, it's not like, these poor black people that can't afford to play cricket. Like, we have some high affluent parents within and families within our program itself as well. So there's even a class divide within our own program. But a lot of those parents have given back. Some have donated, money to give back and paid for, equipment for people on the program to have, and they don't exclusively say, that was me. They don't want it to be known like that. But we've had some good support from parents involved in the program, and supporters. The more people can come together, organizations like I said, Bat for Chance is another charity. We're a charity. We've been able to combine our efforts to help the young people, and that's what it's about, like helping people who need it. Not everyone needs equipment, but the ones that do, like, we can support that. Not everyone needs help for travel expenses, but the ones that do, let's help them there. And for some of the young people as well, like with some of their clubs, membership fees and match fees, we've been able to speak to some of the clubs and cover some of those costs, or waive some of their costs, just through the understanding of the club and the relationship. Because even like clubs like yourselves, your old Hamptonians, big shout out to you guys. You guys have reached out, and you guys are coming down to training to help volunteer. But you've also spoke about, if we've got some players that need clubs, like some of the older players, that you can accommodate them, like you have done with the Refugee Cricket Project in the past, which is another program close to my heart that I've worked with. And so this cricket, people often talk about that cricket family, and genuinely, there are people that live that, and clubs that live that, like yourselves. And the more people come together and help and combine forces, then some good can really happen.
The biggest thing that I found coming over to England to play cricket is that the accessibility and being able to practice for free and do things at a lower cost is just ridiculous. At home, there's 20 nets in a 10-kilometer area you can use for free at all times. So that class divide isn't as sparse. Where over here, if you're not going to a private school, you don't have 10 lanes free, a coach throwing your balls all the time. So how can you actually improve at cricket if you don't have access to these facilities and coaches?
It's tricky because you're right. A lot of the, and then the other thing is, a lot of the spaces where there might be some nets available, there might be 2 or 3. A lot of the time it's in a park, and some of those pitches aren't necessarily maintained the best, or the Astros they're left to get, they've been there for a number of years, they're old, so some of them are quite unsafe, dangerous.
Yes.
So it's not as easy to just rock up and play, it sounds like where you're from, it's a lot easier to do that. There's a lot more pitches, but and also I think and this is slightly off topic, but I guess on topic, where if you want to try and get more people to play, I think where cricket is getting better, there's more of it on TV, talking terrestrial TV, free TV. The more that happens, the better, and a lot more people are watching things now, highlights on YouTube and different clips to kind of see it, because ultimately, if you don't have Sky, you can't really watch cricket or see cricket. So, and not everyone has Sky. A large proportion of people don't have Sky, and if you link that back to, we're talking about class. A lot of those families that we're talking about, they won't have the money to have Sky, so they're never going to get opportunities to watch cricket. So, the more times cricket can be on free to air, the more it can People encourage to go and look at, loads of kids look at YouTube and TikToks and all these different stuff. The more stuff it can be put on those places, the more interest gets up, and then the more people are going to want to start wanting to play. They might start going to more of those facilities. They start putting more pressure on the council, the county boards, and then those facilities get upgraded. Like in London, the London Cricket Trust do some good work putting in non-turf pitches in parks and different places, and nets. But the other thing is that on the flip side is, yes, those nets and those pitches have gone in, but how much awareness has been created around them around getting people to play? Because unless you're really involved in cricket, you don't necessarily know if there's a pitch gone in, and they just sit quite dormant and they've been there for a long time. So I think the more publicity of the game and the awareness of the game can be done, the more people can get playing, and the more people can go to some of these places, because you're right, some private schools have some amazing facilities over here. They got some fantastic facilities, better than I'm quite fortunate. A lot of our programs are attached to the county clubs and county grounds around the country. I get to visit them, but some of the private schools, their indoor facilities are far better than some of the counties. So it just shows you the level of investment and what goes into it. And if you go to a private school in this country, especially one that takes cricket seriously, from September up until early July, when they break up, middle of July, you can get up to 10 hours of access of cricket. Whether that's like informally or formally, that could be breakfast clubs, lunchtime clubs, after school clubs. You've got your year group training, you might be in the academy. So there's all these options from when you start in September all year round that go from indoors to outdoors. So the jump is huge, because if you go to a state school, a lot of the time you're not playing cricket in the winter. A lot of the time, and that goes back to the teachers that go to those schools at the state schools might not be confident with cricket. They might not have learned too much of it training. They might not be a cricket fan. They might not like cricket. So it's like they're never really going to go to that as a thing. Let's do like some winter training. A lot of the time you find schools that do, like, especially from a state school, that do cricket in the winter, they've got a teacher that plays cricket outside and has an interest, and they encourage it as much as they can. So and there's not enough of that within the teaching framework in state schools. So that's always going to be a challenge to combat, but hopefully things will change in the future to help bridge the gap.
What's next for Ace? What have you got lined up for summer of 2023? And anyone we can keep our eyes on coming through the Ace, any young guns?
Summer 23, more matches. We've got another busy fixture schedule. So that's exciting. Last year we played about 68 games last summer, like up and down the country.
Cool.
Found that I went to new places I've never seen, big coaches going down small lanes, there's some challenging experiences along the way, some great trips out with the juniors and the seniors. More matches this summer. In terms of players, we've got a few, but I'm gonna let Trent, when he comes later today, Trent's gonna see a few of them. He's gonna get some of their names, and then he'll feed back, and he'll be able to help keep an eye on them.
Get shown up,
get sticked off, man.
So I'm gonna challenge Trent to pick out a few today at training, and then we can, who knows, we'll catch up later on in the summer, and we can reveal, how some of those players got
definitely
on. But, excited to start the season very soon, as I'm sure you guys are too, and all the best for Old Hamptonian season. Wish you guys success, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye on your results as well now.
Oh no, pressure's on.
Please
pressure's on.
Watching.
I'll keep an eye out for you guys.
And lastly, where can people donate if they want to get involved?
Just check us out on our website, www.aceprogram.com. There's a donate button on there, and also we're on Just Giving as well. So it's thanks for creating wider awareness of Ace as always, man. Appreciative of you two giving up your time, and Trent, looking forward to meeting you in person later.
Yeah, man, you too.
Paddy, we'll see when you come down if you're available. we'll get you involved too.
It's a sorry site. I can help out on the sort of like admin side of things if needed. I think nobody wants to see some of my shapes. So
I'll hold you to the admin stuff. You know,
thanks so much, Chevy. It's been amazing.
Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks, Chevy. Such a good chat with Chevy. A topic that I know you and I are very passionate about, growing the game. We say a lot about growing the game in European cricket and through these associate nations, but we've got to also look to grow it inside our home nations and how we can be better at sort of supporting different classes and like be able to grow the game to different socio-economic areas. So we can go from one really serious and important conversation to something that's really stupid and just not needed in the world of cricket. It's draft time, baby. Let's get back into it.
Let's draft, baby. Let's get it.
Let's get it, baby. First of all, I've got to say, I'm back. Draft Master is back. I've had a landslide of a win. I think 90% plus. Who cares, Paddy? I don't know what is going on. I've won again since week 1.
Yeah, I let you have it. I felt sorry for you. I wasn't like I let you go first. I gave you the Carberry lid. And that was just a walkover. You win that roster, easy pickings. But to be honest, it was more as a mate. Like I saw how it was getting to you.
Yeah,
it was starting to like lead to other areas of your life deteriorating in quality, and I didn't want to see that, especially as we approach April. You weren't netting as well. You weren't looking as still. You weren't seeing. And then, God, breathe new life into you. We netted last week, and post draft win.
Oh, mate, I was like empty balls Shaheen Afridi. It's a different bloke.
Empty balls Shaheen is now a touch point, a reference in this pod.
I've got to say, though, you have like prefaced there that you gave the win by giving me the Carbo pick. Although TikTok has sort of blown up again from this draft, and some absolute nonsense in the comments have come out firing at us, haven't they, Paddy? Just literally clamoring at the point to try and tell us what we've missed. So I think you've cleared a few.
Yeah,
take it away.
There's a couple. The Ryan Campbell baseball mask going undrafted is disgusting. Neither mentioned the plexiglass face grill of the 80s. There's another one. The how can you forget the Dinesh Karthik Moonwalker lid? Grim. Really great that we're getting this level of interaction. A lot of comments enjoying the content. Cricket District, shout out to them. Outstanding content, incredibly niche. Love it. The rest of you need to get outside more. That's all I'd say. Touch a bit more grass. Summer is near. Just like, hey, you know a bit about helmets. That's cool, mate. Just get out more. It's nothing personal.
Very personal.
It's actually very.
The fact that like we done research about this draft to try and like obviously get W each of us, and the fact that it's like it's in the back of their minds to actually have a comment on TikTok. Go, hang on, how have you missed this baseball lid? First of all, who cares, mate? Who really cares?
I do love it though. Shout out to all of you. We do this in jest.
Yes.
However, this one is bound to stir up a little bit more dialogue in social media sphere.
Yes.
This is one
social
we've
media
been.
Gears.
Yeah, this is one we've been looking forward to for a while, and I am absolutely buzzing to build this roster.
Yeah, so this is a topic that's got a wide range of picks. I think I've got like 13 on my list here right now.
Unreal.
The fact is that this person in cricket is not uncommon. I would say it's probably the most common thing that is in cricket, rather than actually run scoring or wickets or whatever things that I say a necessity in the game. It's the worst type of blokes in cricket. That's what we're going to draft this week, Paddy. And as draft master, I'm going to throw it back to you as you take the number 1 pick. Then I'll go second, and then thus the rest will follow.
Worst types of bloke. There's going to be a few moments here, Trent, where we might be accused of being
that bloke.
Being that bloke, hot kettle black, and so forth. I'm going to take it away. Going to go safe early on in the roster. You see them around quite a bit. They've come back from the bar, and there's one beer in their hand. There's just the one. They're oozing and cruising and boozing, but solo. They've got one beer for themselves. Normally, I'm all for going for rounds or whatever. Getting a handful, 4 beers, couple pints. Who wants one? Seeing the solo pint smith, seeing someone who goes to the bar, buys one for themselves, and then just acts as if nothing happened. You are an awful bloke.
That is the worst side of bloke in cricket. See, I used to call my brother Whispers because he never shout. Ask Rob Bentley, a friend of ours at the club. The funny story, like he played an overseas year in Ealing, and like when the first night they went out for a drink, there was like 5 blokes there all around. It came around to Jaden, and then everyone was waiting for him to have a shout. Everyone was waiting, and they go, "What are you doing, mate?" He goes, "I'm overseas, man. Aren't you shout my beers all night?" The bloke is allergic to shout a beer. So yeah, shout out to old Whispers, Jaden Park.
What a nickname as well.
Yeah, mate.
JP,
Whispers, tight pockets.
Whispers. Yeah, that's good.
So's on his pockets. Actually, he's going to be playing our club this year, which we've got to say.
Yes, has been leaked.
Perfectly leaked.
Perfectly leaked. So if you are listening this far, which chances are you aren't, there's the deep cut. There's the club we play for. Come and harass us on a Saturday.
Yeah, go to YouTube, so find that and have a good old...
Have a goosey gander. Right.
Yeah, see how big my front pad is. Yeah. So, my number one pick, okay, it's very important. I had a fair few that I could deliberate over, but I think this is probably the person I hate the most in cricket, and that is people who take 2 bats into a net.
Oh, so good. So good. You're that bloke as well.
No. I did it this week only because I was trying a bat out, and I didn't want to use the good bat in the bowling machine.
Yeah, man.
But it's always the worst cricketers who take 2 bats in.
Yeah, that's such a good shout. Oh, how have I missed that? Yeah, 2 bat. So what are you going to do with it, mate?
2 bat nonsense.
You don't blame... Bad worker blames his tools, mate.
Mate, you haven't made one all year.
Yeah,
what's the next bat going to do?
Yeah, bringing 2 sticks in isn't going to fix you that you can't play off your pads. Like, yeah, that's a really good pick.
Shout out to Max Vivian who done that last night.
Yeah, he's done that for years. Shoehorning a lot of niche names in here. Right.
Just making these up. We have no friends, mate.
Right, second pick. We're getting progressively niche now as we enter this
let's go as niche as we can.
This is one of the worst types of bloke in cricket. We know a couple unnamed names who do this. You're in the tub, you're showering. Bloke has shower gel, but won't share it. That's not going anywhere. If you have shower gel, expect to give people a little dollop.
Yeah.
Don't squeeze it into their hands for them.
No.
just trust them. We're all adults here. We're all naked adults. I'm more than capable of squeezing myself a little dollop of original sauce.
Yeah. You're soapy. Let me get soapy too.
Yeah, let me get sudsy with you. So yeah, that's the worst of bloke in cricket. Doesn't share their gel. Doesn't share their suds.
Yes. Same. I'll go the exact same. Like this is not my pick, but I'll go under the same. That banner is people who don't share sunscreen in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Like this is my health. Like this is sun.
Yeah.
This is...
You owe me this. Otherwise, I get melanoma.
Yeah. Which is horrible, mate. Like, we're playing this stupid game. We're not going to score any runs. The least I can do is not ruin my life 30 years down the track.
It's not worth it, Trevor.
No.
It's not worth it. All right, second pick. I'm so excited to hear what you've got.
I'm so excited for this one because I knew that you had this on your roster, and I'm taking this away from you. It's people who have a bad handshake after the game.
No.
Yes. Yes, especially people who go for a knuckles and then last minute change for a handshake.
Oh, yeah.
Get the fuck out of my life. Get out of my life. I don't like. I've just smashed you, or you just smashed me. No, like we don't want to be here, and now I've got to clamor over your handshake.
Get we're all better than this. I was gonna throw in as well some people who are salty, like a little bit of salt in the wounds. Yeah. Not best pleased, and this isn't my pick obviously, but they either dodge your handshake or avert your gaze or maybe grip a bit too hard. Can respect the last one, it's alpha, but limp wrist or like no eye contact. Be a man, not in a like misogynistic way, but just be a bloke. We don't want to be here. Let's just we're better than this. That's what I'd say.
Are we?
Handshake.
Are we?
Are we? No.
Are we? No, I also want to say the people who like shoehorn it have like a really shallow handshake. So yeah, and they get like the fingertips in.
Yeah,
Horrible.
yeah.
I want like corner of the palm to corner of the palm. I want to just get inside your wrist.
Yeah, bad handshake. That's a really good pick. All right, final pick. How niche are we going to get? This one is really personal to me. This is so niche, but wicket keepers who give you lip when you, as a batsman, you're nervous, you're jittery, you haven't scored runs, you got in, you're not going to score runs, but you're there for the shits and gigs anyway, and they give you lip, and you join in on the self-deprecating chat because you're like mutual. You're like, it's like I can. This is my coping mechanism,
Yes.
and they just shut you down, straight up ignore you, or just give you the cold shoulder. Like, I'm trying to be on your side here, mate. I get that so much where I get a little bit of lip and I'm like, yeah, I know I'm shit or whatever. And they're like, right, mate, don't talk to me.
So what's your pick? Oh, so people who the keeper who doesn't want to talk to you.
Keepers who give you lip, but they don't want you to give it back.
Okay. So they want it. They don't want to talk to you at all. But they want to give you lip.
Yeah.
So you're an object. They want to objectify you.
Yep. I am a just neutral
Human
party.
object.
Yeah. I'm an unsentient, cold, pummy stone.
It's so what's the good word for it? Like raw and intimidating when there's only 2 people batting, 11 people fielding.
Yeah.
You're like, you just feel closed in on sometimes when they're sledging. Because anyone who says that sledging doesn't work, they're lying. They're all liars. The amount of times I've been sledged out is incredible.
Yeah.
Because we're all weak, mate. We're all weak. That's why we play club cricket. If we're strong, first of all, we
100%.
wouldn't play cricket. And second of all, they're professionals.
They are making cups of tea in my head. They're not even living rent free. I'm paying them to live up there. They are
real estate agents.
They're cutting about my head, breakfasts on, sizzling away, making cuppers. Honestly, that is the worst type of bloke in cricket. Because if I'm in the field and a batsman chimes in and has a bit of a laugh at himself, I'm like, you're a good bloke.
Yes.
And I know, hey, this is hard for you. I know it's hard for you. Like, it's not difficult. Name another sporting environment or social environment where you are 1 against 11 and everyone's looking at you in a field.
An orgy.
Okay. But like, you know what I mean? I'm here for you, bud. Nothing personal. If you want to join in, be my guest. And they give you the cold shoulder. You're a terrible bloke. Anyway, end of.
Sorry, that was a huge
tangential. Quite visceral, quite personal.
It's come from a dark place, mate.
You're cathartic, right. Mate. Yeah, I'm good, mate. It just feels it just feels good to open up.
How many weeks left?
Oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Okay, last pick. Oh my god, I've got 13 here to pick from. We've got to do a run through of people things we've missed because I've got some corkers on here.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, now I'm starting to tap into the kids that I coach because I see the stuff they do.
Right.
It really fucking grinds my gears.
Yeah. So worst type of blokes extends to children.
No, because it happens in adults too. I see it every single day.
I see.
This is the one that I've seen in real life, the kids I coach, and also in cricket.
Yeah.
It's people who yell, "How's that?" after they clearly bowl someone.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're terrible.
You are the
suck.
worst.
You suck.
Yeah. You are also the person who wears whites to training. Get the fuck out of my life.
Yeah, why are your trainers black? Yeah, that's that's horrible. Awful. How's that? Yeah. Well, after it's like caught at
it's always like it's a screechy head. How's that? It's like that. Yeah. I see it all the time, man. It's horrible.
Those are good drafts, mate.
Yeah, that's a great draft.
That's a good one.
Right. Let's really run through this list of people that we've missed here.
Yeah, honourable mentions. Mentions. Okay. So I've got a couple. Bloke who won't stop banging on about runs when they back at the club. They ask you how you go, nodding along, bursting at the seams for them to be asked the same thing back. You're a narcissist.
Do you ever do the game where they've scored runs, so they ask you and you don't ask them back? I do it all the time. It's a great game.
How'd you go today? Oh, not great. Sort of ropey 15 odd. End of conversation. Walk away. Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Did you hear about how the Force went today? It was pretty good, mate. Yeah.
No, talk about someone else in the club who made runs.
Yes. Yeah, oh, mate. Good on them. Really
yeah,
good for them.
Good knock, I heard. No, in their team.
In their team. Yeah, tough wicket.
And then the other and then the other one I had was people who like bat tap in the middle. Like I found that you're such a knob. Like just
like
be like tap bats instead of instead of spudding.
That's a bit of cultural stuff, mate.
I know it's cultural stuff, but it's like you're not better than a glove tap. And
are you a glove tapper?
Yeah, I'm a glove tapper. I actually, funnily enough, it's a tangential story here. My dad is like, he's like, and just not true Northern Irish, straight down the road, sort of like when he's played cricket, he's very traditional in a lot of his ways. And he hates spuds, like hates fist bumps. He's like, what is this silly stuff? So whenever he's played cricket, which isn't that often, but he's got the pads on, he handshakes his partner like in the middle, like stuff you do when you scored a ton, just does it at the end of each over.
That's so sorry. I used to have a bloke in Australia who hated that much. Like when you put the knuckles out by accident because you didn't like it, he'd slap it away.
That's alpha. That's so alpha. Yeah, all right, go on. Run us through your obscenely long list of honourable mentions.
Okay. Yes, I had people who are whites are training. People who complain that they're never out, even though they definitely were out. People don't bring a towel for the tubs.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, every single week, yet still have a tub. It's a good one. People wear compression bands on their arms when they're in the field.
You should have said that one. That is so good. You're not Jofra Archer, mate.
No. You're fielding it like deep cover, mate, and the grass is pretty well maintained. Like, what do you need those compression bands for?
What do they do? Stop tennis elbow? No,
because I had tennis elbow. I tried it, done nothing. I think it's for the square, like when you field on the square.
Oh, right. Yes. Yeah, I can see that. Yeah,
that's why all the professionals do it, because they play on really long squares.
Yeah,
like the oval.
Yeah, races out there.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on. A few more.
And then someone who always blows up in the field, a blow-up candidate, even though like they're deep cover and then blow up the bowler for bowling another wide. They just grab, mate. Like,
yeah, I can. I've been that bloke.
What?
I've been that bloke.
Yeah, my opinions change a lot.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's all I've got.
That's really good. Yeah, I enjoyed that one, Trent.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
I'm sure we're gonna get rinsed on TikTok for what we've missed again.
Well, at least it's like not gonna be nerdy pics that we've missed. Like it's not. it's no fault of our own. It's actually just fault of our own creativity and like friendship circles that we hang out with.
Or bad self-reflection.
Maybe we have good teammates, and there are much worse. Let us know in the TikTok comments or on the Instagram, whatever, what the worst type of bloke in cricket is, and if you've got a personal experience with them. Because thankfully, as Chevy said, we are fortunate to play at a great club. Good bunch of lads, very respectful. So more often than not, if you're a bad bloke, it gets called out and you don't do it again. But you've played a lot of great cricket in Australia where that's not the case. And that's why your list was 13 entries long.
Yeah, it could have been longer. It could have been more, I'd say, R-rated. Yes.
I mean, we're by
There's a few that I mentioned off the air that were very PC. Like, not even PC, just like humane, I'd say.
Yeah, there were... and that's fair. We're by no means a PG rated pod.
Well, but... I'll say one is that people were pissed on... Well, I'll say one, someone who pisses on someone else in the showers. But I think there's levels to it. There's people who do it endearingly. This is jovial. Like, I'm going to piss on you. You can piss on me later.
I cannot.
But there's people in Australia who do it for sport and they want to diminish you as a human being. So they piss on you and they fucking love it. They're the people.
That is where we wrap this pod up. We call it a day there. We have spoken for too long. I hate you. I can't wait for next week. Get around the socials. Thanks for listening. Clubs, get in touch. We're going to look to start next week. And this new segment, we'll get that going. But as always, we've been really unorganized and not good at what we do. Thanks to Chevy for getting involved. Donate to Ace. Yeah, it's been a blast, Treno. Anything to add?
Yeah, I just want to say, anyone who's interested or likes what Ace do, because they're awesome, please get in touch with them, donate, do whatever you can. They're an amazing charity and they do some great work. So
yeah,
thanks everyone. We'll stop talking now. You won't have to hear us for another week. Thanks for listening to Mum and Dad, who are only listeners.
Yeah, thanks, Dad. Well, he's not even listening either, is he? Laters.